So the world we live in today is full of the big hitter consoles, which are actually big. Your PlayStation 4s, your PlayStation 4 Pros, your Xbox One, your Xbox One S's. But for me, there's still a place in my heart for the little guys. And it doesn't really get any smaller than this one. So this is the NES Classic that just released earlier today. They are extremely hard to find basically in store and online. They pretty much sold out everywhere. Luckily for me, myself, and Tara, we actually got online at a Walmart at like 5 a.m. this morning, and we got one of the 24 that they had in stock. We snagged 2 of them, and in today's video we're going to be unboxing this one, and I'm going to be giving you guys my general impressions, final review, and just a quick setup and maybe some gameplay as well, just to see what it all looks like for you guys, or let you guys see what it all looks like. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. So the NES Classic Edition is extremely difficult to find. Like I said earlier, they have pretty much sold out instantaneously online at like Toys R Us, Amazon, basically everywhere. And people were lining up in the wee early hours of the morning just to try to get their hands on one. So as you can see, we still have the Walmart sticker from the Walmart that we went to in our area. And they had 24 of them, but before the store even opened, they were all sold out. We got like tickets to reserve ours. So what the NES Classic is, it's basically a very small replica of the original NES that launched like decades ago, and it comes preloaded with 30 of the more popular classic Nintendo games. And I like that because, well, there's two schools of thought. I like it because it's really retro and it's really cool. It's a nice thing that they did. They replicated the controller to basically the exact thing that you found on the original NES, even though this one's a little bit newer. It's not full of crumbs like mine was back in the day. And basically, I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I don't like it. The reason why I don't like it is because Nintendo hasn't really done a good job on their virtual market thus far. And basically, I think I've bought like the original Mario like 4 times now. And this is definitely going to be the last time I buy it, because I'm never going to buy another game a second time from Nintendo, because I'm going to have this baby, this very small NES Classic, which is just so adorable. It literally fits in the palm of your hands. It's literally like this. And what's nice is that it's powered by an HDMI and just a small power adapter, and you can hook it up to any TV that you possibly want. But let's get the rest of this unboxed and we'll take a look at everything on the inside. Alright, so I've taken everything out of the box, and let's just go over quickly everything that you get. So first off, you get a Nintendo branded HDMI black cable, which is nice because with the Nintendo branding, it makes it a lot easier when you swap around cables to know exactly what is hooked up to what. Capture card, this is like a YouTube thing. Underneath my desk is basically a gong show full of cables, so it's nice to know exactly what cable is running where. You also get a power cable, which is simply basically just a micro USB cable connected to one of these like power blocks that you get with like cell phones and other smaller electronics. This thing doesn't draw too much power because all the games are most likely flash-based games back in the day, in comparison to more modern day games aren't that large. Modern day games run into like the gigabytes, whereas games barely reached megabytes back when they first came out like 30 years ago when the NES was released. And yeah, let's take a look more in depth into more of the fun stuff, such as the console and the controller. Alright, so me playing around with this controller now for a little bit is both frustrating and nostalgic at the same time. When I mean nostalgic, obviously it feels great to play with the NES controller again, kind of brings me back to my days when I was a bit younger, but it's frustrating because it also reminds me how much I've grown physically, and that my hands feel like they're engulfing this thing now. It doesn't really fit the nooks and crannies of your hands like modern day controllers do. But it's still really cool. It's very nostalgic, like I said. And it's built solid, as consoles were back in the day. It feels solid. You could probably beat someone over the head with this thing. But my main gripe with it is that the cord for the controller that connects to the console is way too short. And they actually sell extension cords for this online, so you can have the console on the other side of the room. But in order to actually play with this thing and hook it up to the actual console itself and play with it, the console actually has to be fairly close to you. So most likely what I'm gonna do is, like I said, I'll probably just pick up some sort of extension cord for it, and that way I can kind of keep it closer to the TV or my computer where I generally play video games. So that's something that you guys probably should keep in mind. If you want to keep it on the other side of the room, you'll need an extension cord or a larger micro USB cable and HDMI cord to bring the console a little bit closer to you. So as you can see, this thing is tiny. It fits into the palm of my hand, and it has the same switches because it's an exact replica of the original NES systems. I really wish I had an original NES on hand, but I got rid of mine years ago. And it has the same switches on the front, the power, the reset. The cartridge slot does not open, it is shut. It has 2 slots in front for the controllers, and like I said, it's an exact replica of the original NES. When you flip it to the back, simply it's all it is just an HDMI out and the power input for the micro USB. So that's basically it for the unboxing. Let's hook this thing up to a TV and see what it looks like when we first power it up. All right, so we have everything hooked up. It was quick, painless, fairly easy, and this is what you get when you first boot up the Nintendo NES Classic for the very first time. And let's just go through the setup really quickly and see what it's all about. It has that distinctive 8-bit feel. Ooh! So this is what the user interface looks like. So there are 30 games preloaded onto this NES Classic, and probably the more famous ones that you guys will recognize is Super Mario 1 all the way till 3. There are a bunch of other ones as well, Castlevania, Pac-Man, the original Ninja Gaiden. Basically any of the popular NES games that you can think of have been preloaded onto this mini console. Personally myself though, even though like a lot of you guys out there, I'm a huge Super Mario fan, Super Mario 3 being my favorite one. And oh, there's like a screensaver as well, which is cool. So let's just, as you can see, these are the 30 games that are preloaded. They're in alphabetical order, but I kind of just wanted to take a look at all the other options that you get as well. So you can play it on CRT mode. That's crazy. Let me see what this looks like. You can have the option of playing on that CRT. Oh, it's a CRT filter, so it actually makes it look old school with those lines, which is awesome. I think I'm gonna go with Pixel Perfect though, clean it up as much as possible. Let's see what other options we have. We have the demo mode, auto shutdown, screen burn reduction. It's cool. We can change the languages from here. Just basically some legal notices that no one will ever read, and that's cool. You can view the original game manuals by scanning the QR code on your cell phone. That is sweet. That is well thought out. So let's just boot this up really quickly. Let's boot up some of the more famous games and see what they look like running on this hardware. So I'm gonna start off with Super Mario 3. World 1-1. Hopefully I don't suck. Come back. So like I said, Nintendo doesn't really do the greatest of jobs with their online infrastructure. A lot of people have bought this like Super Mario 3 probably like 3 times now, and I want to be able to fly up there. So this console that you can basically hook up anytime, not require, oh, right, that's how you fly. Whoa, it's been a long time since I played. There you go. Yeah! This is awesome. No, come back! Wow, it really has been a long time since I played this thing. So this is Super Mario 3. Looks beautiful on this console, I must admit. And can he get the star? Yes, he can. Course clear. Very quick course right there. Let's see, how do I exit the game? If I want to quit a game, how does one do that? In order to save your game, you actually have to go back to the home screen first. And to go back to the home screen, you actually just have to hit the reset button first. And when you hit it, you see this little fly thing up here, the thing with the wings. So you press down, and you have the suspend point list. So as you can see, as it looks like, you only can save 4 games at a time. So we just drop it into, let's just say slot 1, and it goes there. And you can also, just in case if you're playing with your family and you don't want them to accidentally override your save file, you can lock that save file by once again pressing down again. So it's locked in so no one erases it without unlocking it first, which is a nice feature. Being able to save on an NES file is probably the biggest thing ever, because back in the day, other than The Legend of Zelda, saving games didn't exist. You were expected to beat a game in one full run, which was a lot to ask of an 8-year-old back in the day. So let's boot up another one of my favorites, the one that I'm going to be playing on my Twitch page, which is the original Legend of Zelda. It doesn't come with the beautiful gold cartridge like the original Legend of Zelda did, but it is cool nonetheless. What the heck is elimination mode? You can't backspace, you just have to go through it again. This is how you make the internet go crazy. Oh, it's fun. There you go. Select the save file. Yeah! Beautiful. Get ability to shoot my sword right away. Take it! Get that fairy action going on. It's so nostalgic and awesome, all at the same time. Alright, just some closing thoughts before we wrap up the video. I turn off the camera and play endless amounts of retro games. So, just like anything in the world, there are pros and cons to this console. First off, we'll start with the pros. The pros is that you get 30 great NES games in a very small form factor that doesn't require any sort of online connection to play. And you basically can take this thing anywhere because it's so small. And personally myself, this is probably just gonna go in our living room. When our friends come over, we just play with them really quickly. It doesn't require too much attention to play classic retro games. And it just looks cool. It's very small, it's very cute. And although $60 is a steep price to pay for some really old games, if you take into account though how much you probably spent on buying virtual games over and over again, just because the Nintendo Virtual System online is terrible, and every time they release a new platform, they make you rebuy games again. The fact that you get it forever, you don't have to worry about DRM, you don't have to worry about online connection, I think it's well worthwhile in itself. All right, so moving on to the cons, and there are a couple of them. So the biggest one is the fact that there is zero capability of expanding the games library on this device, the 30 games that you get. Albeit they are the best games on the NES system, those are the games that you get and you're stuck with. There is zero opportunity or ability to expand library, which is a bummer, but it is what it is. And the next several cons concern the controller. The first being that this cord is once again way too short. So if you do pick one up, I suggest that you get the extension cord if there is one available, or else you're gonna have to be forced to moving the console itself physically closer to you, especially if you're like playing in a living room setting. And once again, these controllers, I've stated before, they're actually harder to find than the actual console itself. In Nintendo fitting, the peripherals that you actually want are more difficult to find than the actual console. It's kind of stupid, but once again, it is what it is. And there's really no other way to add a controller other than trying to buy this controller or like a third-party one. I think Nyko makes one as well. You can't use an older Wii U classic controller or the original NES controller. I would have preferred if they just would have used like an NES plug like they did back in the day, but yeah. So once again, these things are gonna be, it's impossible to find for the next several months, which is a real bummer because if I were buying this, I would want to buy it so I could play either with my siblings, play two-player with my children if I had children, or if I were a grandparent, I'd want to play with my grandchildren. But until more supply of these come about, you're basically gonna be doing the old school thing of passing the controller back and forth, which isn't a terrible thing, but it would have been nice if Nintendo understood their market and the fact that they needed to make more of the actual controllers themselves, but yeah. And the final con is that there's basically not enough of these on the market right now. They're basically selling out everywhere, so if you happen to randomly find one in the wild, instantly snap by it, don't think about it, because they are extremely difficult, and I think it probably, for gamers anyways, this thing is gonna be one of the hottest ticket items this upcoming holiday season. So get them while you can, if you can find one. If you can't, good luck, happy hunting out there. And basically that's pretty much it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick look at the NES Classic, the setup and unboxing and review. As always, if you enjoyed the video, drop the video a quick thumbs up, and I shall see you guys next time, right? As always, have a fast day.